Homeowners lose their minds when they see what their contractor has done to their house. When it comes to beautiful homes, it's generally the architects who get the credit. They're the ones generating the eye-popping designs that make the house the crown jewel of the neighborhood, after all. On the other hand, contractors are only there to follow the blueprints, right? Well, no one ever told Bernie Mitchell that. As a contractor in Canada, he worked primarily with drywall. Except he didn't see it as grunt work. For him, it was a true labor of love. In fact, if Bernie installs the drywall in your home, alert the presses, because your home's value might have seriously gone up. Well, a lot of people contribute to the construction of a beautiful home. It's generally the interior designers and architects who get the credit for the house's beauty. But Bernie Mitchell of Ontario, Canada would disagree. Bernie was no architect, and you wouldn't find his work in anything like Canada's Centre for Architecture, a museum dedicated to excellence in architecture. He was a proud father and a grandfather, but most people knew him by another title. Outside of his family, Bernie was known as the drywall expert. While this might sound like perhaps the least exciting title anyone could ever receive, on par with drying paint genius, in Bernie's case it was pretty much the opposite. If clients hired Bernie to do a little drywall repair, he would have been able to handle the job just fine. But clients rarely hired this drywall expert for ordinary around-the-house repairs. See, when someone hired Bernie, they weren't getting your run-of-the-mill contractor. In fact, they were meeting an artist, a drywall artist actually, and an amazing one at that. Bernie started working 40 years ago as a part-time contractor. Initially, he did basic drywall work on about 4 or 5 houses per year. With enough experience, he told Canada's Global News he got to play. The best example of Bernie's artistic style occurred on a visit to the home of his sister, Maureen. There, Bernie grabbed his tools, drywall, palette brushes, chisels, and a scraper, and started playing, as he might put it. The result? A beautiful mural, made entirely of sculpted drywall. He must have gotten a little bored, Maureen said, and while he was home, I got horses. Isn't it incredible what Bernie could do just because he was bored? Ever the creative, Bernie used everything from barley stalks, leather straps, and dried wheat to texture his fresh drywall masterpieces. Soon enough, he realized that the stuff was so much more than gypsum-based plaster for your walls. With a newfound interest in drywall as art projects, Bernie worked with small designs before upping the ante to more complicated creations. Once he had a few projects under his belt, clients began hiring him specifically for art jobs. Bernie drew inspiration from the birds and nature beauty of Ontario, which was why so many of his carvings and sculpture utilizes the same images: trees, birds, mountains, and forest animals. Of course, Bernie didn't limit his artistic visions. If the mood struck, he left behind sculptures of birds and bees and cranked out a historical scene or two. Many of his sculptures packed some hidden surprises too. For instance, depending on the available light and what angle it was shining on the wall, the art piece changed. The shadows could make the piece appear to be coming to life. You have to wonder if Bernie's drywall masterpieces would up the value of any home on the market. After all, not every house comes with artwork that's built right into the walls. Eventually, word of Bernie's talents traveled across the Canadian border. According to Global News, by 2016, videos of Bernie's work had garnered over 200 million views across various social media platforms. Turns out, this led to some big offers. Soon, clients all over the world, from Abu Dhabi to Honolulu, wanted to get their mitts on a Bernie Mitchell original sculpture. Although his commissioned works represented the client's interests, Bernie remained true to his personal vision. One piece was a sculpture of the Silent Night Chapel in Austria, the alleged birthplace of the beloved Christmas song Silent Night. Bernie carved the art on a piece of drywall and shipped it to its new home. Recently, he even started using props. Bernie implemented the artistic style known as a relief, and he created more and more full-wall sculptures that would go toe-to-toe with any architect's best designs. He even began using props to turn his drywall scenes into something better. With all of his success, Bernie never got too big for his britches. "If money was important to me, I'd have some," he said. "It is about the art. And the drywall too, apparently." Bernie still does regular old drywall repair for those who need it. There was only one thing that was more impressive than Bernie's art, and that was watching Bernie create his art. Bernie's even offered a few Bob Ross-style tutorials on his website too. How amazing is Bernie's work? He managed to turn such an everyday thing into a beautiful means of expression. Wouldn't it be cool to have one of these in your home? Share Bernie's drywall art with your friends.